Hey guys, my track Frost was recently used on the trailer for The Pale Blue Eye, so I wanted to show you how I wrote it. So, I think it's important that we actually watch the trailer together first of all, so that we can kind of get a feel for the track, and then we're going to listen through it. So this is my track Frost from Throat 4. Let's go and check out the trailer.
Another cadet is missing.
Poe, I need you to discreetly infiltrate the cadets.
What is this?
Blood, symbols, rituals.
Oh, my lord.
Man will do most anything to cheat death.
Where are the facts? Where are the simple facts? The truth!
I believe the dead haunt us because we love them too little.
We're no closer to finding who's responsible for this than we were a month ago!
We are closer. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah. That was awesome. Okay, so the reason why I'm really, really pleased about this is because oftentimes when it's that type of cello playing, I get my friend Tim to come play the cello, but this was me playing the cello, and I'm going to show you how I did it in a minute. It's kind of hilarious. So here we go. This is the track in all its beautiful, messy glory, Frost. So although I'm a big fan of templates and shortcuts, etc., etc., when I do this stuff, I load up a ton of audio channels and just record my voice, record whatever instruments, and I sketch the track in this form first. So if we hear it like this, you'll get a better idea of how I write this. I write it all recorded and using my own loops, as you can hear. So as well as me doing vocals, playing the recorder and playing the cello and my singing bowl and my violin, there is another chap who's doing the kind of like more manly sounding mantras and things like that. He had like a great growl to his voice, kind of like a proper metal singer. It was great. And then obviously all I do is I layer the stuff on top afterwards, which is the other way around, to which I often do work, which is doing the trailer stuff first, i.e. the big hits, the effects and things, and then adding afterwards. But with this type of stuff, I really just like to just open up the mic and start recording. So here we go. Let's have a listen to it. All those tracks soloed without all the other stuff. So this is me playing the singing bowl. Me creating a cello drone. And then me playing single cello notes. And humming. And then me playing the recorder. I mean, this was the main thing that they used in the trailer, this descending cello bass line. And then I obviously add rhythm to this. And a signature sound. Let it be noted that they, this is my mix, this isn't the mix that you hear. So they took out all of the voices. that cello rhythm. And then just for full effect. So you can hear those drums damage the plastics. Okay, so that's the track in all its glory. I do want to highlight this little chappy, because this they used heavily. So much so that when I heard the trailer, I was like, oh, they've layered on this new sound. I'd forgotten I'd used it. Because in my mix is kind of, when I do my mixes, I tend towards the kind of like more ambient sounds. Whereas when Toby mixes them and when they get taken by the trailer editors, they kind of move the ambience away and sort of bring out all the punch and bite and also the sounds that have the character. That one. I mean, it's pretty much these. That's pretty much the trailer, and then with this plastic. That's pretty much it, right? Just mixed really, really well. Which is, what, 7 channels. So let's talk about how I wrote this and how I approach this type of writing. I generally treat these tracks as huge builds. And like I said, I pretty much record everything on this, actually. I did used to bother getting my decent condenser mics out, but these days I just go, I'll just do it here because I'm sat here, there's a mic, I don't have to set anything up, it's easy. I know it's lazy, I know. But, you know, I'm pretty happy with the sounds I get. So I start with setting the tone and getting the atmosphere. And for me, that stage was set by these two sounds. A cello drone and a singing bowl drone. A huge fan of singing bowls, by the way. I absolutely love them. This is pretty much my Act 1, really. Or Act 1, Part 1. And then my Act 1, Part 2 is to introduce something. Whether that's a thematic thing or a riff or a rhythm. In this case, it's this. And the way I did this was I recorded each cello note, then pressed stop, and then made sure I got the right note, recorded it, pressed stop. So I recorded them all separately because my ability to play the cello is that bad. I can hold the bow and I can hold my finger in the right place. That's pretty much as I get. So those of you thinking, oh, I can't record real instruments because I don't have any capabilities to do that. Yeah, with stringed instruments, there's a certain amount of, give and take there. So with that cello, I just played the note, recorded it, played the note, recorded it, and then just cut them all together in Logic. And then the other thing I like to do is I like to introduce a second layer ambience. So we kind of have on top of this and here, but you notice that the second layer then takes over. Chanting, which if you want to see, is all of these. That's the stem of me singing. I just bounced it out into one stereo file. So I'm also going. But actually, as that stuff wasn't really used, I'm gonna take those down a bit. So the idea with this album was that we were going to put chanting and vocal sounds pretty front and center. So I believe. Yeah, I made up a load of made up sounds and got the singer, whose name I forget, to just repeat them. I might be saying something filthy in another language. I would never know. So that was me doing it. You can see it kind of sounds like a nice gentle la 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 la. And then we got the... What a mess. I love it. And then, you layer that with the drums. Wicked. But anyway, I digress because that stuff wasn't used. It was pretty much all of my violin and cello playing. So the way I approach writing these rhythms is I generally start with one. I like to have some kind of ticking, and that in this case it's me sort of playing col legno, which is hitting the bow with the wood of the bow on the strings. And I've mentioned this before loads, but Steve Reich's clapping music is a huge influence to me with regard to writing rhythms. I generally take a rhythm and try and treat it in the same way that he would have treated the rhythms in that piece of music, which is phasing. So you have that with a rhythm, and then you get that same rhythm, but you start it a bar later, kind of like a melodic canon, but with rhythms. So that ideally you then get this like beautifully intricate thing. I mean, kind of intricate. You get this kind of like movement going left and right and forwards and backwards and into the Irish Sea, and it's really fun. It kind of gives you this wonderful growth without having to think of any new rhythms, and I really like that about this. And this theme runs through all of the Throat albums, this is Throat 4. I think the last one we did was Throat 7. That theme runs through all of them, and it's really, really fun, and it has enabled me to kind of take an idea and progress it to a sort of 2-3 minute build. Now, I'm not going to go into huge amounts of detail about how I did all this stuff. It's pretty much the same stuff. It's just tick, 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 tick. It's just having the pulse emphasized, and then you just use the big drums to pick out certain aspects. And that's it. I mean, there is a huge amount of compositional theory behind this, except for the layering of rhythms that are usually staggered, or at least a variation upon one another. I try and keep the bass lines or the harmony very simple. I mean, you'll very rarely in Throat tracks hear me playing a bass line that is not one note. This is uncommon. So it was really nice to hear this one landing, because I think when I did this one, early on in the feedback, it was like, I'm not sure we should be going into kind of a melodic bass line. But I was like, please. And of course, then it's just trailerization things like string rises at the back end, doubling down on your rhythms, getting faster, harder, louder, quicker, all of it happening to kind of really hammer home that build. But what I want you to take away from this track is that your limitations can be a blessing. I did not allow my inability to play the cello prevent me from recording a bass line I wanted to be recorded. Because I did play this in, I didn't this time, but I often try and go, let's just try one of the sample libraries. And I play it and go, yeah, that sounds good, but it doesn't sound gritty, it doesn't sound real. And that's what I tried to do with this. Get it to sound gritty and real so that we could get this lovely sense of organic things happening. And I'm not even trying to pretend there's legato going on either. So don't let your limitations stop you. Like I said, a lot of this was recorded here. I would often layer tracks with my violin, my cello, and my voice to create the entire track, then looping sections just to give me a sense of it, and then you can just start trailerizing from there. I would suggest getting hold of a second-hand stringed instrument and having a go with it and just seeing what you can do. I mean, you listen to this, it's not like I'm playing it in time. I haven't even bothered to quantize it. Because so much of this stuff, for me, I wanted to sound human and real, and quantizing removes that, or at least a part of it anyway. It may have been quantized. In fact, I'm pretty sure they would probably have quantized parts of it further on down the line, because some of those are really wonky. But at this stage, it's about the idea, and it's about being excited about the creation of your track. That's why sometimes I will work really quickly with one-shots, dropping them to create the shape of the track. Other times I will work really quickly with my mouth and an instrument nearby, so I can just quickly sketch ideas out, get them out quickly, and I'm not worrying about timing, I'm not worrying about tuning much, I'm not worrying about like clusters. That sounds, in a way, awful, but in a way, amazing. Because I was just letting the freedom of this come out, and I want you to start doing that too. I want you to go, okay, what can I create with just my rubbish old mic, my voice, and this mandolin, whatever it is, and just see what you can do. Don't let your limitations stop you. Let your limitations push you forward. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next video.